Hello and welcome once again to the race. This time I should be racing at Le Castellet, the Paul Ricard circuit in France. Very famous circuit. I watched many a race here in the 80s, loved it. A slightly different circuit now. I think it's had a few chicanes thrown in, some massive runoff areas, which are very confusing on the eye. But it's all good fun. Let's see what we managed to do. I'm racing. This game is the F1 2020 game on the PC, and I am going to be taking part, as usual, 25% race distance. Not sure how many laps it is, 8, 17, 18, something like that probably. And I will be racing the AI in classic cars mode. I will be racing in the 1996 Williams FW18 that Damon Hill and Gilles Villeneuve raced in. Okay, let's go. I'm 5th on the grid, which I'm quite pleased about because I made a mistake early on in qualifying, one lap qualifying, and but I managed to recover and get 5th on the grid. Okay, here we go. Right, there's another Williams FW18 on my right there. Looks like a 92 Williams up ahead as well. I was very slidey off the start there. Ooh, what are we doing? Okay. Oh dear. Okay, I'm up a place already, 4th place. Williams FW14B in front of me from 1992. Oh dear. And I think it might be a couple of 98 McLarens. I think in front of the 92 Williams in front of me. Now this is the really tricky turning coming up. It's so difficult to spot. This left-hand turning. There it is hidden. Oh dear, okay. So difficult to spot. I think somebody else clouted me. 95 Benetton behind me there. Oh, didn't feel confident going for that. Yeah, that left-hand turn is such a tricky one. Partway down the Mistral Straight, famous Mistral Straight. Now, the Mistral Straight used to just be one big long straight, I believe, didn't it? I believe that chicane is new for when this circuit came back a few years ago. Oh, look at that, I've got him now. But I'm overtaking him on the outside. That's the tricky thing here. Trying to take him on the outside. How's that going to work? Oh, it didn't. Not sure if this is a difficult circuit to drive, really. It probably isn't, but I haven't raced on it very many times in this game, so I haven't got used to where all the corners are yet. He's going to try and get me, isn't he? He's going to try and get me up the inside, so I've got to try and block him there. That is a really tricky left-hand turn, tricky to spot. I've overshot it loads of times. And undershot as well. I always close this guy up, don't I? Well, it's only the second lap, isn't it? But first 2 laps I have closed up on him on that long curvy bend, but I don't feel safe enough to overtake. Oh dear, is he going to let me through? Oh dear, I think he was almost letting me through there. That got very dicey. Okay, I'm losing ground to those ahead of me though. Oh dear, I nearly drove into him then. I was going so much quicker than him. Oh dear, look. I've got the bollard stuck underneath my wheel. It's gone now, isn't it? Yeah, it's not there anymore. That would have been quite a clever feature of the game if the bollard being stuck there actually interfered with your handling in the game. That would be quite clever. Quite clever physics within the game, that would be. Oh dear, okay. It's all right if you're seeing another car just in front of you turning left there, you can follow them. If you're on your own, it's so difficult to spot. I want to close up on him again, going around this corner. Maybe close up enough to get past him. God dear, I keep wanting to hit the brakes. God dear. Okay. God, eventually I've got to get him, surely. Oh dear, have I got him here around the outside? That's impressive. Got him around the outside. Okay, now back into 4th place. Now it's time to head after that 92 Williams, which I think is ahead of me, and 2 98 McLarens, I think. Oh dear. No pit stops in this race because I'm racing classic cars. Got to be careful on those rumble strips. I've also got to be careful that I don't get hypnotized by all the blue lines. Right, here we go. I'm on my own now doing this. Where is it? There it is. Must have lost time there though doing that. Yep. He's right behind me. Yeah, even looking at it from above on sort of TV footage, it looks really confusing. Sometimes you can't see where the track is, so actually driving it must be a nightmare. Certainly is playing this game. But I'm very glad to see Paul Ricard back on the circuit. Magny-Cours was okay, but it wasn't Paul Ricard. Mind you, now you could argue that Paul Ricard isn't Paul Ricard. Not the original anyway. But what circuit is? Silverstone has had a load of chicanes and corners, extra corners that weren't needed, thrown into it. Oh dear. These old circuits get loads of new twists and turns added to them for health and safety mainly. My fastest first sector. That's encouraging to see. And we've got the dodgy left-hander coming up again. at this mid-Mistral straight chicane. Okay. So what lap are we on? Lap 5. Oh, went a bit deep there. Had to take my finger off the accelerator. I should stay in character and say foot off the pedal, shouldn't I? Even though it's my finger doing it. I should say foot off the pedal. Stay in character. You have to concentrate so much. At least you know if you go off the circuit, you're not going to smash into anything with these massive runoffs. Whoa. 7 seconds behind. That's a big old gap. It's going to be difficult for me to close. I am surprised. I'm in 4th actually. I'm amazed. Not one of my best circuits, this one. Purple first sector. The races I particularly remember at this circuit are 88, 89 and 90 and 91. 88, 89, 90, 91. I mean, I do remember the results of other races, but don't really remember much about them. 86 and 87, Mansell won both races, but I don't really remember much about the details. In 89, I remember Mansell coming second. I make no apologies for basically knowing most of my details are where Mansell finished, basically, because I was a big Mansell fan, so I make no apologies for that. So I know he came second in 1989. And of course in 1990, Mansell was he going well in that race? Well, I think he was about 4th or something like that when he retired. The usual gearbox problems. And the Ferrari. But Alain Prost won the race by catching and passing Ivan Capelli in the Leighton House, I believe it was called then, which had been the March. Maybe it was still called the March. No, I think it was Leighton House in 1990. And a car that had never won a race. Well, the March had won a race, and indeed, had it won a championship? No, it hadn't won a championship, but it had won races, I think, in the 70s. But this more modern March, which then became Leighton House, that one hadn't come remotely close to winning a race. The odd sort of 4th place. And there it was in the hands of Ivan Capelli, leading the French Grand Prix in 1990. Ivan Capelli had never come close to winning a race before. And I think Prost passed him with, I think, about 2 laps to go, 2 or 3 laps to go, to win the race. Poor old Ivan Capelli, who went on to race for Ferrari the following year, but didn't have a good time at all. He was much better in the Leighton House than he was in the Ferrari. Yeah, I said earlier that I thought March had won races. Maybe they hadn't won any races. Oh, I forgot where I was on the circuit there. I realised as I was getting towards the end of that straight, I could see that some kind of corner was coming up. I couldn't remember where I was in the circuit though. I only just realised just in time. So I'm now 11.5 seconds behind. 12.2 seconds behind. I'm not far ahead of Coppens behind me. So apart from those opening laps, the opening battles with Coppens, it's been a very quiet race so far. On the 91 French Grand Prix, that was an exciting one because, yeah, guess what? Nigel Mansell. It was his first win of the season, wasn't it? He should have won. Should have won in Mexico, and he should have won in Canada. A car problem in Mexico stopped him from winning that race. He came second, and the jury's out as to exactly what made him retire on the last lap of the Canadian Grand Prix whilst leading. Anyway, this Grand Prix, French Grand Prix, which was at Magny-Cours then actually, it wasn't at Paul Ricard. In 91, it moved to Magny-Cours. And yeah, Nigel Mansell had a good old ding-dong battle with Alain Prost. He had to get, I forgot where I was in the circuit again. He had to pass Alain Prost twice in Prost's Ferrari. Why did he have to pass him twice? It wasn't because Prost got past him, I don't think. I think there was what was the reason why? I know the race was stopped, I think, partway through, wasn't it? Due to rain or something. It's a tyre stop related thing, which he got past Prost and then tyre stops or something, and then Prost got back in front of him and then he had to get past Prost again, something like that. But yeah, that was a good, at long last, Mansell got his first win of the season. But I shouldn't really be talking about it because that was not at this circuit. It was a French Grand Prix at Magny-Cours. Mansell, of course, then went on to win the British Grand Prix a week later. And 2 weeks after that, he won the German Grand Prix. 3 races on the trot. Didn't win the championship, though. Okay, so I've got quite a lot of cars now packed up behind me. And they're only going to get closer because I'm going to keep looking in my rear mirrors instead of focusing on the track. So I'll end up going slower. Okay, 4 laps to go. That's my purple sector there for the last. Now, see if I can get this corner right for change. Not too bad. Yeah, I've got a purple sector at the end of that lap. Not just my fastest, but the fastest from anybody. Yeah, so this car never raced at Paul Ricard. This car from 96, the Williams, was racing at Magny-Cours. Right, there we go. I've got used to that corner now. I haven't missed it once. Yeah, this, of course, championship winning car now. It won the, I think it won both the constructor. Yeah, it must have done because Villeneuve was second in the championship. So won the Drivers' Championship with Damon Hill and the Constructors' Championship. How many races did Damon Hill win that year? think he won. I think I know that Jacques Villeneuve won 4. It's a bit odd that I would know how many Jacques Villeneuve won, but not Damon Hill. I think Damon Hill might have won 6 or 7. Oh, it's my fastest lap, that was. Probably because I got this first corner correct. Yeah, I think, unfortunately, when I come out with these so-called facts, it is coming from memory, a lot of it. So I always have to add in words like, phrases like I think, or wasn't it, or I'm not sure, but as long as I add in those phrases, then I can get away with saying the odd slightly incorrect fact. But I'm fairly maybe certain that Villeneuve won 4 races in 1996 in this car. Damon Hill definitely won more races. It's either 6 or 7, I think. It's not been too slidey, actually. Normally these old cars are very slippery on their slicks. Well, this one's not been too bad. Maybe it's the type of circuit. When I race the 1990 Ferrari, I'm all over the place. I'm sideways, no matter what circuit I'm on. I did a race video in that car in Brazil, Sao Paulo, Interlagos. And I didn't do too bad, but it was very, very slippery all the way through. Okay, look at that. I'm really on my own. 3.5 seconds behind me, 15.5 seconds in front of me. So not been much action in this race, unfortunately, apart from the first few laps. But I shall race eventually. I'll race around this circuit in all the cars, both classic and 2020. Unless by then I've got the 2022 F1 game. I didn't get the 2021 game. Didn't seem to be much point in that, really. I never get 2 years on a trot, basically. There's always at least a 2-year gap between me buying the games, so that there's a big difference. But I'm sure I'll get the 2022 game. I'm playing, I didn't mention it earlier, but I'm playing on a difficulty setting of 50 as usual. That seems to be pretty perfect for me. Not too difficult, not too easy. Okay, so about to start the last lap. Completely on my own here I am. Destined to finish 4th. Oh dear, I nearly lost. That's the first time that I've nearly lost the car, apart from right at the start when we pulled away from the grid. I don't know what happened there. I got some really bad wheel spin. I nearly lost it right at the beginning. Okay, last time taking on this one. Got used to spotting that bollard now, that little yellow bollard. It does really stand out. Noah Visser has won the race. guessing in one of the McLarens, 98 McLarens. Oh dear, that's the first time I've gone wide there. That's sloppy. Very sloppy. Oh, I'm heading for my fastest lap though. Hang a minute. Alan Forrest is the race winner. And what was I looking at before then? I must have been looking at a fastest lap or something. Didn't look at it properly before. Okay, and here we go. Is it going to be my fastest lap? Yes, it is my fastest lap. The last lap of the race was my best. 4th place. Well, that's a good result. I wish there'd been a little bit more action throughout the race there, but definitely pleased with 4th place. Right, thank you for watching. Once again, thank you for listening. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so. I release video every Saturday, basically. Right, thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next video.